Hello my beautiful friends, it's Amanda here, and today I have a little beauty bay haul to share with you. I have never purchased anything from the brand before, so this will be my first time trying everything out. However, the Wilderness palette that's in here, I have swatched and played with a little bit already, but for the most part, this is a complete first impressions. I always love trying out new products, new brands, new everything. It's definitely the most exciting part about my jobs. So I have a big old box full of goodies here, and we're just gonna dig in. The first thing I want to show you is this brush set because I'm gonna be testing out these brushes today. I'm gonna peel this off. You want to see a satisfying peel? There's a nice little carrying case, and these have a really pretty rainbow ferrule there's 5 face brushes, 7 eye brushes. So I won't be able to use all of these, but I think we'll be able to do enough of a sampling to get an idea about what I think about these brushes. I'm already wearing a tinted moisturizer and a little bit of concealer in my brows, but we're going to dig into some makeup now. So the first makeup item is this lip gloss. This is in the shade Slippers, and this does just have a regular, pretty standard doe foot applicator. It smells really, really, really vanilla-y. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit better. This is just kind of a basic pinky nude. But you know what? Those are the type of shades that I like to wear. So feels nice, looks cute, glossy, smells good. It's nothing, you know, crazy groundbreaking for me. But it doesn't feel too sticky, it doesn't feel too thick. We'll see how it wears kind of throughout the rest of the video. But yeah, feels like a pretty nice standard gloss. I don't have a problem with it. Now we've got some cheek products. I love some cheek products. I picked up 2 blushes and a highlighter. I decided to go for a matte finish and a shimmer finish blush. I'll probably end up layering them because of who I am as a person. These aren't that expensive, but I will say the packaging feels very light and cheapy. If I put this in a travel makeup bag, it would probably break. The front, this logo though is really cool. This is the shade Bitten. So this is the matte blush, and I have swatched this. It does feel a little bit powdery for my taste, but I haven't tried it on my face yet, so we will see. Don't judge a blush by its swatch. And then this shade I've also swatched already. This is Blossom, and this is giving me strong NARS Orgasm dupe vibes. It's definitely pink with that gold shift. Lastly, we have the highlighter. This is in the shade Beam. Now this looks very, very foily. I will say when I swatched it, it wasn't quite as like soft and creamy as I was expecting. But again, I haven't put this on my cheeks yet, so I will reserve judgment until I try it. And speaking of trying it, let's try out some of these products. I'm going to use this angled brush. It says make them blush, so I'm assuming this is the blush brush. Typically, I like a round brush for blush, but you know what? Like I said at the beginning, I always like trying new things, so why not? I'm going to start with Bitten. That's the matte blush. Get a little bit on there. Wow, it shows up really nicely. I can't complain. The pigmentation is way better than I expected after the powderiness of the swatch. I was expecting this to be a little bit more thin and lackluster on the cheeks, but it looks pretty darn good. See, this is why I reserve judgment until I try something. The swatch doesn't always do it justice. I'm not going to go too hard with that blush because I also want to use a little bit of this Blossom blush. And you know, I'm not wearing any bronzer, so I think I can get away with a little bit of extra clowntastic blush today. Ooh. Oh yeah, this is nice. Wow, beautiful. There we go. I think that looks really nice. Just needed to be toned down a little bit. I think going in with 2 colors and it being more pigmented than I expected just gave me a little bit of blush overkill, but I'm not even mad because I love blush. So let's try the highlighter out now. This is in the shade Beam. In the spirit of branching out a little bit, I'm going to use this fan brush to apply it. I typically, ooh, that's got tons of kick up. I typically am not a fan brush highlighter type of gal, but this is just, it's very powdery. Ooh, ooh, there it is. So the brush is having a hard time picking it up because this is a little duo fiber fan brush and the highlighter is really powdery, but I have to say it looks very, very nice on the skin once it actually gets on there. See what I mean? Look at all the kick up on the lid just from dipping this fan brush in. The highlighter looks really, really beautiful on the skin, but it's probably a little bit more powdery formula than I personally prefer. I do like something a little bit more creamy and moisturizing, but it looks good on. So again, can't really complain. I'm going to pop in a swatch here of the highlighter, both blushes and the lip gloss. That way you can see just a little arm swatch here with all the shades that I showed you so far. Since I didn't swatch them as we went along, but I want you to be able to see them in swatch as well as in use on my face. Okay, let's talk about the real star of this haul and the whole reason why I was even cruising around on the Beauty Base site to begin with. And that is this. This is the Wilderness palette. This is what the outer box looks like. It's really cool. It looks like a tree stump for a cut down tree with all the rings. Okay, I just want to point out here it says, there's this little warning that says that some shades contain pigments that are not suitable for the eye area according to US law. I know I talk about this in a lot of my videos, but you know, we always might have somebody new here watching. So some shades have pigment warnings that say that they're not for use in the eye area, and that's because sometimes these certain pigments can cause staining, which isn't that big of a deal. Some people are actually allergic to these pigments, so it doesn't really matter what country you live in, you can still be allergic to these pigments. I would recommend that you patch test them. I have a whole video talking about what that means and how to do it and why you should do it. So I'm going to link that video down below. It's my ColourPop wine collection video. The shades are not marked which ones contain these pigments. Typically it's the more red based shades, so red, pink, purple, orange, but we do see those pigments pop up in all different colors. So I would just recommend, especially if you're somebody who has experienced eyeshadow sensitivity in the past, just do a patch test with this palette before you use them and see if you have any sort of reaction to any of the shades. And of course, if you do, don't put them on your eye. You don't want to figure that out on your eye. It's better to figure it out on your arm. Anyway, enough about that fun stuff. The packaging on the palette is different than the outer box. There's not those tree stump rings here. We're seeing something that looks like it could be a landscape, it could be a night sky, it's giving me forest, it's giving me northern lights, it's giving me topographic map. All of those things are, you know, wilderness adjacent. So I like the ambiguity of this. This is a cardboard packaging and it does have a magnetic closure. There is a mirror inside and then we see 20 beautiful shades laid out here. This is more matte than shimmer. We have 7 shimmer shades and 13 matte shades. I do want to go ahead and show you some swatches of this palette before we get into the eye look. So I'm going to do these 10 at a time, that way they're not all jammed in on my arm. I'm going to do both finger and brush swatches for this palette. Finger swatches will be pictured on top and then each brush swatch will be directly below. All these swatches are done directly on my skin with no primer down first, just the shadows straight onto my arm. As with all my videos, the brush swatches are done with my e.l.f. flat eyeshadow brush. And I'll clean the brush off in between each swatch using my Veramona color switch. That way there's no shadow transfer between swatches. I'm not going to narrate the steps of this tutorial. It's a pretty basic little spotlight eye. I've done it a bunch. You've seen it a bunch of times. But I do want to give you the rundown on the performance of the shadows because I did really struggle with this earth and sunrise combo. It just didn't want to blend evenly, and the more that I blended, it seemed to kind of disappear in some spots. So I really struggled more with the mattes with this palette. What you're seeing is a really sped up version, but it did take me several minutes to get even a semblance of a blended look. And you can even tell here as I'm going in with the blue that there were just parts that I could not get even. And as I worked with it, as I layered more colors, I felt like I could get a better looking final product, but it just took a lot of work with these matte shades. And the shimmers are absolutely stunning. Every single one that I've used so far has been really easy to use. I think the mattes are just more hit or miss based on the color. And that's a pretty normal thing, especially for a palette as inexpensive as this one is. But I did take a lot of work to try to get this blended, and it's not the most perfectly artistically blended eye ever, but I will say that overall I'm really happy with the final result. I really like the way that this turned out, and I even love the blue, which is not a typical color that I'm drawn to, but I think that this shade combo and just texture combo looks really nice. If you've watched any of my other videos, you may be a little surprised that I chose to go with the blue because blue is my last remaining scary color. But a couple things. Now that I have finally discovered / admitted my love for green eyeshadow, I felt like blue was truly the only out of my comfort zone way that I could go. Plus, I was feeling very inspired by these really cute sparkly cloud earrings. And I'm wearing a whole blue outfit today too, and I have these little bluish purple nails, so I just felt like blue was the way to go. It was the way to truly step out of the comfort zone. I really like the way this entire look turned out. I think this surprise sort of breakout for me was the blush. I love this blush combo. I like both shades separately and together. I really do think the shimmery blush, Blossom, would be a good stand-in or dupe for the NARS Orgasm blush. The highlighter is just kind of okay for me. It looks nice on the skin, but it's really powdery when I was using it, so it's not something that I'm going to be super excited to reach for again. But the brushes worked really nicely for me, and I really like the blush, especially this Blossom blush, but both of them were pretty nice. The gloss is just okay. I don't have any complaints, but I'm also not, rushing out to pick up more shades. But I'll continue to use this one. This is just sort of a middle of the road, average, everyday gloss, so that's fine. Hey, we need those. The world runs on the average everyday gloss, in all honesty, so I'm not even a little bit mad about it. This palette, I'm having some mixed feelings about it. I definitely need to use this on my eyes more before I fully decide where I stand. This is kind of the opposite of the blushes for me. The swatches were really nice. I was feeling very optimistic, like, oh man, this palette is going to be a no-fail. The swatches were just beautiful. And then in practice, it was a little bit more lackluster once it was applied to the eye. I definitely had to layer up and blend and layer and blend to get the opacity that I want. Especially with the mattes, the shimmers seem really nice, very metallic, very sparkly, very pretty on the eye. But this is a mostly matte palette, and I did find that the mattes needed a little bit more work than I was expecting based on how they swatched. But I haven't tried all of them yet, so I am going to reserve judgment. For now, this one's still kind of up in the air for me, so I'm gonna work with it a little bit more. I'm not completely counting it out, but it was not love at first look for me. It's definitely good. It's just not the best palette I've ever tried. But it is nice. I'm going to keep using it. I do love the color story. I love the shimmers. I love the whole idea here. Very saturated, jewel tone, rainbow kind of idea. But I love the green heavy focus. It makes a lot of sense with the theme of this palette. And they have some beautiful, varied tones of green here. So I'm definitely going to be doing more looks with this. I'm excited to explore those green shades a little bit. I like the layout of this palette. It seems very cohesive, very thoughtful. All in all, didn't knock my socks off the first time I tried it, but that is not all she wrote. I still have high hopes for this palette. I may still fall in love with it yet. Now's the time when I want to hear what you think about these products. Have you tried any of these? Did you have a totally different experience and you're just obsessed with the Wilderness palette? Is this on your radar? I always love to hear what you think about things too. Even if we don't have the same opinions, even if we don't have the same experiences, it's always really valuable to me to hear what your experiences are too. So make sure you leave all your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Anything from the this is going so well. We have a lot of in between. Look how cute these little sparkly clouds are. Okay, I'm getting distracted. It always looks weird at this stage, okay? Trust me, it's gonna be fine. Probably. But I haven't tried all this shade. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Who is she? Who is she? She has blue eyeshadow on. Now she likes green eyeshadow. What? I don't know who this girl is. But she has very fancy eyelids. So I like her. Cool. Well, thanks for watching. Don't yell at me in the comments. Please don't yell at me. If you love this palette, nobody is going to take that away from you. Okay? I said I was going to keep trying it. Just don't yell at me. We don't have to have the same favorite things. I'm not going to come to your house and make you have the same favorites as me, okay? Alright, I gotta go because I got some other little filmy things I gotta do. But I hope you know that I love your face so much. It's just so precious to me. It's cute and smart and funny and lovely, just like you. So thanks for hanging out, bringing your face here to this channel. I love it so much. Okay, bye! Thank you.